state briefly who I am. Okay, my name is John Salisbury, as Gabriel said, and I'm heading up our product area in Making Science. And I'm just going to give you a brief introduction about who we are for those of you who aren't familiar with Making Science. Okay, we're a publicly traded company with offices around the world, as you can see: New York, London, Paris, Milan, Madrid, etc. We're one of Europe's fastest growing companies as ranked by the FT, the Financial Times. We focus on marketing and technology consulting with a strong proprietary technology base. So you can see there we have a number of products: data quality, Gauss, Unifeeder, Shoptize, and Nilo. We're not going to go into detail all those. We're going to talk a little bit about Gauss today. And you can see we're somewhere over 400 people around the world, working as a partner with Google and Facebook, and a bunch of other companies as well, Amazon and Microsoft and others, very much working with top tier companies to help them in their digital transformation and digital growth strategies, with a lot of focus around the advertising and marketing ecosystem. This is just to give you a bit of a feel in terms of the type of capabilities that the company has and the type of projects that we're doing for our customers. As you can see, there's a lot of well-known logos there. So we really are working with top tier companies around the world. And we're doing everything from brand identity and the creative to performance marketing, SEO, SEM, conversion rate optimization, and a lot of focus on data around machine learning, artificial intelligence, all sorts of data attribution models, everything that one can want to do around this advertising and marketing ecosystem. We pretty much do it. So what we want to do today is talk about how we can leapfrog. Okay, if we look on our fishbowl to the left, okay, cookieless. People talk about, can we fingerprint or ID users some other way? What is Google up to with Flock and Ads Data Hub and other things? Is that e-privacy still a threat on the horizon? And basically the approach we want to talk about today is, let's talk about new opportunities. I'm going to try to talk as little as possible about third-party cookies going away and focus on the things that we can do. Okay, so what we really want to talk about today is, okay, what can we do about first-party data? What can we do in what we call the full funnel marketing approach? And just before we go further, I want to talk a little bit about just, okay, what are the trends that we're tending to see with our customers around the world? And there's a couple of things here that I think connect with what we're going to talk about a little bit, but just to give a sort of framework for our discussion, though, what we're seeing is, on the one hand, marketing coming out of the back office, more and more, the front office, more and more driving strategy, more and more being treated as mission critical. And this is directly related to the growth of online. It's not that marketing wasn't important before, but the way that marketing interacts with the rest of the company is evolving. Okay, and one of the things we're seeing is, okay, where are the gaps in that marketing growth within companies that needs to be met? And we'll talk a little bit about that further down the line. Omnichannel, obviously a lot of people are talking about that. What we're seeing is more and more companies putting it into practice. Companies are saying, no, I really need to understand how my online and offline is working together, and how can I feed that information into my advertising marketing strategies. We're seeing a lot of interest around first-party data. So as third-party goes away, as some of the existing strategies become weaker, okay, what can we do around our first-party data? And then a lot of interest in, okay, how, with all this data, how do we activate it? How do we put it into use? How do we make it usable for decision-making and for developing the key strategies for my company? And a lot of that is, okay, what do we do in-house, right? Because everybody says, okay, yeah, the platforms have lots of intelligence And yeah, we want to make use of that, of course, but there's an increasing question. All right, but what can I do internally around this type of investigations and developments within my company? So just to continue on here, right? We talk about sort of very simplified marketing and advertising funnel where we're doing branding and awareness, we're doing performance, we're getting people into our website or our app or wherever it may be, our physical store. Some of them we lose, and we've traditionally had a lot of focus on, okay, what do we do about retargeting depending on the particular industry? And basically what we're saying here is, look, there's just not a lot we can do to combat what's going away. All right, and I think that's kind of the last I want to talk about that part. And we go and talk about, okay, what can we do? Right, so we see here, we're expanding the upper part of the funnel. What can we do to make that part work better? All right, so focus on what can we do and not what can't we do. All right, but there is still some that we can do around retargeting as well. Okay, so all is not lost. And at least for the foreseeable future, we'll still be able to develop some campaigns, but we'll have to see how the ecosystem evolves with respect to what's going to be possible 6 months from now, 12 months from now, a couple of years down the line. There may be a point in time where this essentially goes away. Remains to be seen. I think that's, part of what we're seeing in the market. Let's just talk for a moment about what kind of results are we talking about here. All right, and I wanted to, before we get into how we do some of the things we're doing, I wanted to talk about, let's get the results out of the way so that we understand what we're talking about. Okay, so what we're seeing is, for example, travel industry, companies looking at, okay, how can I bring more people into my sales funnel, going after the video market? Okay, so YouTube and other types of video channels. And what can I do to bring in more high quality visitors that are going to end up being customers? We can be doing this through display, video, social. We work with all those different channels. Same thing, we're looking at customers, for example, insurance industry, looking at people using smart search technologies, meaning so we're going out and powering our search campaigns. Same thing, how do we bring in those high quality customers, right? We're looking at, for example, we're working with a hypermarket chain that's using their loyalty scheme to bridge their online and offline and get a better understanding of how their online spending is impacting in-store purchases. Okay, and another example would be in a real estate company where they've got a new promotion, and with these types of approach that we're working with in their retargeting is getting double the number of leads as they were previously. So just to kind of get your interest there and say, look, the stuff we're going to talk about really works. We're having great results. Obviously, this is very focused on our customers, our technology, our products. But for those of you watching, I hope that there'll be some takeaways that are useful for you, even if you're not working with us currently. Okay, obviously, we'd be happy to bring in new customers, but I hope that at least the techniques we're talking about are useful to our audience at large. And let's just go ahead. But basically what we want to talk about is an evolution where we're going, what's been really precision marketing, this ability to micro target, not even audiences, but individuals, right? So this has been a big part of marketing campaigns online for quite some time now. This desire to really be able to, find an individual. Okay, you visited my website. I'm going to track you around the web until hopefully I get you to come back and finalize a purchase. Obviously, all of us are familiar with that, and we're all familiar with everything happening where that's going to become a weaker and weaker strategy. And so we're going to predictive marketing, right? Where it's all about using algorithms to find strategies where we can predict who's going to be a good customer for my company based on different criteria, and how do we bring them in. Okay, and this is all about prediction, artificial intelligence and such. So this is a product that Making Science uses. It's something we've developed in-house. And I talk about our product range a lot, like the growth of Amazon Web Services within Amazon. So the standpoint of, we've got all of these really top tier customers who we've been working with for years, developing strategies, and the products have just blossomed out of that ecosystem. Is that they're things that we needed for our customer work, and that they've progressively become products unto themselves. So this marketing data hub is basically, we can think of as a form of data platform, customer data platform, but really targeted to the advertising and marketing ecosystem. Okay, so what are we talking about here, right? If we see in the very center there, we've got this icon of the user, and that's really the essence here, is to get this unified customer view. But here, what we're specifically bringing into our platform is all the online behavior. So everything that's about how people are navigating within my properties, website, app, whatever it may be, bringing all that in, bringing all the richness possible into my data hub. I'm bringing in information from my online campaigns. So I'm looking at impressions, I'm looking at clicks, I'm looking at conversions that have been tracked through my analytics systems. And then I'm also bringing in offline data. Okay, so I'm looking at my above the line campaigns. It can be loyalty programs, store visits and sales. It could be returns. So anything that I want to pull from my CRM, my ERP, it's coming in here. And obviously all done on a fully privacy compliant basis. So we're taking into account user consents. We're anonymizing data where data should be anonymized. But the beauty here is that we're working 100% within a first-party data ecosystem, and then leveraging that to do other things. Okay, so then let's talk a bit about what we're doing in the specifically smart advertising, what we call smart advertising, which is really how are we activating all of this data from our marketing data hub, plugging it into our campaigns. And you can see here on the left, okay, we've got the ad behavior, the web behavior, the conversions, all this type of information that we were just talking about. And then we're plugging that into what we call prospecting campaigns, campaigns to bring people in, retargeting campaigns, search, display, video, and then we're going into all the different platforms. The key here to understand is what we're doing is training algorithms that fundamentally understand who my buyer is, giving that back into my platforms to help them bring in the right types of customers. And the results we talked about before, 10, 15, 20% upticks on conversions, on leads, whatever your particular goals are, is what we're consistently seeing across different industries. Okay. Let's just talk a little bit about how we go deep on the offline data side. Okay. So what are we doing here is, depending on what the customer needs, we do things in different ways. But basically, we start on the left there. We've got our campaigns. What we want to do is look at, okay, how are we going to optimize what we're doing? So as we go deeper, okay, do I want to optimize just based on sales, volume of sales? So we're at that stage, we're at least going beyond just clicks to sales. But then we can also say, okay, I want to optimize based on margin. So if I have very different margins between some customers and others, for instance, maybe a furniture company where I want to bring in more people buying sofas and beds versus pillows and towels. Okay, so I can focus on the margin element. I can go beyond that and even look at lifetime value and say, okay, let's take the longer view and really identify who those strong lifetime value customers are. For example, in the insurance industry, where you're typically making your margin maybe after the second or third year the customer is there, you really want to see, okay, can we bring in those lower churn type of customers? And then we go beyond that even to customer scoring, okay, where what we're actually doing is creating custom algorithms around these types of customers combined with margin data, lifetime, whatever we want to do, and we plug that into different types of custom bidding scenarios. Okay, so what we're doing here is plugging in to the platforms. They can be audiences, they can be custom bidding strategies. We're giving them what they need to give us what we need. Okay. And one of the things that we do that's really interesting is I do all this in real time. And the key here to understand is that the market is constantly changing. Okay. So your pricing and your product is changing, your customer's pricing and product is changing, there's promotions going on, and then there's aspects of seasonality and sentiment. And so there can be peaks, for a day where maybe you are strongly price competitive and you really want to capture all the demand there. If you're working in real time, you can do that. You're not working in real time, you're going to lose that. But what we found is that even when we give, let's call it partially accurate data to the platforms, but in real time, we're just getting stronger conversion results versus getting perfect data further down. And what we understand here is that the algorithms that the platforms are using fundamentally understands that there's a freshness element here. Okay, so by giving these fresh signals, they are bidding with more confidence and they're bringing in more customers for us. Okay, and one of the other things we're seeing is that where the landscape transforms, let's change the algorithms. Okay, so we retrain. So we have these machine learning algorithms that are running. We're not just it's not set and forget. So what we do is we set up automatically that can be every couple of weeks, depending on the nature of the business, we want to retrain. And what we see as well is that there's companies such as universities where they have a very fixed calendar and where they're even looking at, okay, we're going to have algorithms for each step in the chain. So, when we've got a T minus 12 months, a T minus 6 months, T minus 3 months, the sentiment and the behavior changes. Let's make sure that we're running the right algorithms given where we are in the cycle for the incoming students. Okay. One of the things here that we're seeing a lot as well is, and I want to talk about an example here, is we had a customer where the IT department made some changes to the website on a Friday night, theoretically innocuous, but they knocked out the floodlight conversions on the Google platform, and the customer of ours was 4 days without their campaigns running. So basically approximately 1% of their annual sales were impacted by a very simple IT change. Now, the thing is, we see this constantly because most IT departments just aren't connected to the advertising and marketing ecosystem. So what we're doing more and more with our customers is putting in place this data quality, data monitoring, and alerting type of functionality, where what we're doing is we're really looking at, okay, are the data coming from different systems matching up? So is my analytics matching my advertising platforms? Where are we attributing conversion data? Is it consistent? And getting a better feel for where we're actually getting our leads or our sales. And then we're also doing this part around monitoring and alerting. So when something stops working within my advertising and marketing ecosystem, I'm getting alerts so that 4-day gap in my advertising doesn't happen again. All right? And we're seeing this more and more relevant for our customers. Okay. And then we're going one step further, where we're going really into what we call full funnel attribution dashboarding. So we're actually being able to go in and look at the full range of impacts that a customer is being impacted by, really understanding where the value is, what the different customer journeys are, really getting down deeply to say, okay, how are my branding campaigns functioning? How are my performance campaigns functioning? Where do I need to invest more? Where am I investing too much? How can I impact strategies? And on the right side of the screen there, what you're going to see is just some examples of, for example, first click, middle click, last click, where my conversions and conversion values are being distributed within my different campaigns. And we can do this very much at a campaign level or at a more macro level to really understand what's happening within my advertising ecosystem. And bringing this all together basically is what we sort of see as the best in class, our customers, where's the best in class functionality? It's putting these different pieces together. I'm running my smart campaigns. I'm using my full funnel attribution dashboards to really get a deep understanding of my customers and their behaviors. I feed that back into those campaigns so that there's really a virtuous cycle there of understanding. It's constantly measuring, testing, improving to continually get more and more results from what I'm doing. And then beyond that, connecting all that with this data quality monitoring and alerting so that my systems are consistently running smoothly. And that's kind of where we are in terms of seeing best in class. If I go to where we started with the different trends, it all connects together. This mission critical approach for marketing, that's where we bring into data quality monitoring and alerting. This omni-channel approach, this is where we're doing all the offline type of integration we've talked about. Going to first-party data strategies, this is really all around our attribution dashboards. And of course, the in-house artificial intelligence is really all what we're doing around the smart advertising. Okay, and that's it. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, John, for a really insightful and detailed presentation. I would like to encourage you, you can switch on your camera so people can see you. So, perfect. Let me see if I can see you.
Do I just, maybe I need to stop sharing my screen?
Yeah, perfect. Now we can see you. So we still have a couple of minutes. So let's, yeah, we have some questions. So can you tell us a little bit more about this technology, how this technology is implemented?
Yeah, sure. That's actually a good question. We're typically, we're running always on cloud platforms. So we're very much cloud oriented. We can run on the Google Cloud. We can also integrate with the other leading cloud platforms, Amazon, Azure. And what we're typically doing here is we're integrating with existing analytics systems. If those are in place, we're integrating with CRM or ERP systems. So we're very familiar with working with, Salesforce and SAP and the other leaders in the industry. And what we do here a lot is really try to understand what the specific customer's needs are to integrate what makes sense. And I think as well, it depends on the customer ambition. So the more ambitious the customer goals are on the offline data integration, we go deeper there. Same thing, depending on the type of optimizations that we want to put in place, we look at how to deal with historical data. So a lot of times we want to bring in that historical data because that helps to train, let's say, richer machine learning models for what we want to do.
Perfect. Thank you for answering that one. The second one is the approach that you just discussed. People want to know if it works better for a certain type of campaigns, for example, display, search. Could you specify that for the audience? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a little bit of case-by-case basis here. I would say that our experience is, working principally with Google and Facebook. Certainly, we've worked a lot around search campaigns and also display video, Google Discovery. Our experience is that it all works. Is that there's always opportunities to find improvement. The way you interact with those different platforms and with those different types of campaigns is different. So in some cases, you're going more to a custom bidding strategy. In other cases, you're doing more about giving an audience to do a sort